Hockey fans, welcome back to the Hockey Nation live show with Coach Frenchy directly in the booth and Michael Devellano, pretty sure back home in California. Welcome, Michael, and the show today, Thursday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Western Time in California. We are going to have a great show today. We talk about a couple of things going around the league in the NHL. We're going to finalize what's next for Tampa. Lightning. We I think it was yesterday, the day before. We talked about how they build their team to win the Stanley Cup. Now, what is next for Julien Brisebois for the next couple of days before the draft? What he have to do, what is he should do, everything like that. So we're going to go at the end of the show talking about Tampa, but talking about them, great celebration on the water yesterday. First time I think they have a Stanley Cup parade on the water, on the boat, and it was celebration because the COVID, everything like that cannot be on the street, so they try to respect a little bit more. So the Stanley Cup was on the Gulf of Mexico yesterday and go around and then they celebrate. People was on the street and celebrate. So it was a unique, fun, and a couple of players enjoyed the night last night with the Stanley Cup around Tampa. Great for them. Like I said, it was good to see them winning after a devastating uh, playoff last season. Where really what got
Yeah,
swept by Columbus.
yeah, and I think it's always interesting to see the progression because sometimes these take a decade,
Yeah,
right? Like the foundation for what we looked at, if you look at a lot of these guys, they're between 1992 and 1989. So there's a bunch of players here that we have. So you look at they've kind of progressed together, they've added and deleted pieces. So it just shows you it's like you have to have a period of building a team like this of like 2 3 years where you draft them, they show up, the guys get better, and you know if they're impactful or not, or if you add delete or add pieces. And they've had a really this core was allowed to stay together. So I always find that interesting because I've always been of that theory when I'm building a roster that it's like I have to like, and that's why you see teams like Detroit right now are loading up on draft picks in one particular time. And you see teams like Colorado that have been able to turn around where they move out certain pieces, but they have that middle. It's like they core down the center, the D, the goaltending, and they build around it. And Tampa's no different. And then what they did is they overloaded on all these pieces that are short term. So it was really worked out well.
yeah. I think it's not only a one way, not only the draft. I think your core should come for the draft. The fact like John Cooper coached them on the
To get
EHL a couple of years, right? They start to learning
yeah.
everything. Then now,
Well,
after
that's
that,
another.
you just add the piece from UFA as a trade, and I think Brisbane did very well on the trade and UFA, and that's how you
Yeah.
build a team. When you said, I think if
I
you
think
can,
it's a good point, because coach them in the AHL, right?
yeah, if you can build from the middle, and then you can have a great defenseman and then a great goalie, you're really in the front of the to winning more and more and more. So it really interesting to see Tampa winning their second Stanley Cup, honestly. And then that's like you just said, the 92 to 99 or 2000, they built that
Yeah.
2004 first history Stanley Cup with Vincent Le
I'm talking
Cavalier.
birth years.
Yeah.
I'm talking
So
birth year, not the year that they added the players. So for people that are watching, they'll draft an 18-year-old kid or they'll sign him at 21 or 22, right? So I think what we saw yesterday was to get a Stamkos is really tough. Like you're not gonna. It's very rare you're gonna get that guy except by drafting him. Guys like Braden Point are later, but those are wins, right? Like they're maximizing their assets. So if you're gonna build a cup winner, it kind of gives you an interesting model.
exactly. I think there was, sometimes the draft is very important. I think between you win a lot of Stanley Cup, well, not Stanley Cup, you become a great team if you can pick great hockey player between top 11 to top 20. If they can grow there, a lot of teams make a mistake. It's part of the draft, right? But if you can get like, Vasilevsky at 19, And then you have those
Oh
kind
yeah,
like, Kisharov at 58, and he can go all the way. That helping a lot. But, let's move on a little bit on about the news and update and signature and everything like that, what's going on around the league and NHL. And the first thing we have to remind yesterday, the separation between one of the best goaltender in the franchise, the New York Rangers. Um, I think
oh Lundqvist, yeah.
I cannot remember a great goalie like him, like Henry Lundqvist for the Rangers and this organization. The last one I can think right now is Ed Jacobin,
Richter.
but I don't know.
Well, no, it's Richter, right?
Rich
Like
Richter
Richter
after
for
that, yeah,
sure won the cup.
yep,
He was a great goalie and really a different type of goalie in a different era, but he was a great goalie.
yep.
But you're right, Giacomo, those guys. But in the end, like their cup was with Richter. So
Absolutely right about that one there. That's a 93 one, the 94 one, this
94, yeah,
with Messier, Brand Leach, and the
yeah,
companies
94.
over there. So what?
93 was the Canadians, wasn't it?
Yeah, Montreal Canadiens beat the Los Angeles King, I believe, in
The
final.
last cup.
So it was pretty amazing. So separation now is to see what Lundqvist is going to go. If he want to still play NHL for 2 more years, he's still 38 years old, or maybe go back home and play there. But he's always been in New York area for many years. Um, salary, money wise is not a problem for him to have one. You know what I mean? Like
I
it's
just
not
got a
like,
bunch of cash.
and it's $8 million by out there. So we'll see. I think, like,
What does he get? He gets 75% of 8 million, right?
yeah. So we'll see what happening on that one over there, where Rangers shifting a little bit. They know they're going to get Alexis Lafreniere. That's the first thing they're going to get, right? And then they try to open up more space cap on that one over there. So we saw Max Stahl went to Detroit last week. It's another $5 million. I can recall it.
Well, his contract's like 5.2 or
5-2
5.1.
right there, right? And then
Yeah,
now it's Lundqvist, another $6, $7, $8 million out. So they get
yeah.
open
Because
up
still,
now.
his buyout is like it's 75% and then divided by two, right? So it's like 5.6. So I think their cap hit goes from 8.5 down to 2.6 or 2.8. So
Yeah.
they free up like 6 million.
So we'll see what happening with that part of it. But I feel something's going happening with New York Rangers.
I gotta believe they're gonna make a run at Peter Angelo. It's possible they make a run at a Hall. It's tough because I mean they could very, 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 very quickly become a powerhouse. Like Panarin's, the top 3 MVP candidates this year. Kako is going to be a second year older, and at some point he's going to be impactful. Whether it's at center or on the wing, I guess we'll see. I got to think eventually he's going to be, I don't know what I like him better as. It's Zibanejad's at the top of his game. Do they re-sign Ryan Strome? They're going to add a top line left winger, so maybe that rules out Hall, because I think you've got Panarin and Lafreniere probably, unless they put them on the same line and move Panarin to a wing, like the other wing, which is possible. But man, that top, like they could suddenly be very, very good, and adding like a Peter Angelo. So maybe Hall's not a good choice. Maybe it's more like, someone lower on the totem pole. But man, they got 2 great young goalies.
The future of the Rangers looking good. Remember last season, is it last year or the year before they got Capo?
Last year. Yeah, because it was Jack Hughes and then Kako, and they were both rookies last year.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, like, you got a 19 or a 20-year-old Capo Kako. He is at some point going to be an impact player. Like, he'll be a top 3 caliber player. Zibanejad's top 3. Panarin's top 3. Lafreniere is probably one of the top 20 players in the NHL. And if you pair those guys together, like, holy crap, like, they could be really scary. So I think they're like maybe a defenseman away, because I don't believe in Adam Fox long term. I don't know what your feeling on that is. Like, I don't see him as a number 1 defenseman. I think he's, not really that. I don't know. Maybe that's just my bias against him. I think if they added a Peter Angelo, then suddenly they're very, 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 very.
They are talking more to trade D'Angelo before Fox.
Yeah, D'Angelo to me had a good year, and he's never going to be worth more than he is now, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I've never liked his game away from the puck. Now, we see today that guys like him who carry the puck and generate offense, they're very valuable. But they already got Adam Fox. So how many of those guys can you have on your roster long term? If you move D'Angelo and get another important piece, because right now he's worth a lot, and you add a Peter Angelo, like you're scary. Do
Yeah,
they add a guy like Bogosian? I don't know. I don't think so. They might need a bottom six guy, but I think that's where their improvement's going to come from because the forwards look really scary.
just finales with Henrik Lundqvist. He's going to receive the next 2 years $5.5 million and on his contract, a 7 contract extension. Then that gave up to the Rangers $3 million additional salary cap space for the upcoming season, and add 1.5
Wait,
million.
for who?
Lundqvist,
Lundqvist?
yeah, he got.
Well, he only had 1 year left at 8.5, right?
Yeah, now my point to you, he will receive for the next 2 years a part of the remaining $5.5 million he was
Oh,
owned,
okay, got it. Yeah,
right? And then that open up now for the Rangers a 3 million additional salary cap space for 2021, and
that's
add
it.
1.5 million to the dead cap space for 21-22.
Hmm.
So, every time you buy out, you don't, for the rules of the NHL, you don't open up the full amount of the
No,
salary.
that's why I was saying to you, he's owed 8.5. They buy it out at the rule is 75% of 8.5. So it's interesting. Their cap hit is 5.5 and then 1.5. So it's weird. It must be the way it's structured.
Yes, but sometimes the reason also is the signer's bonus make a difference
That's
also on the
probably
salary. So if you give a lot of money, sometimes a player have a salary example. I don't know, like someone have an $8 million contract, right? And then he can buy out, or he can be sent to someone else, and he
that
only
makes
owns
sense.
$1.5 million or $2 million, and the $6 million is already done by the bonus signature. So sometimes that's changed the contract for the
Yeah, that
buyout.
makes sense.
Yeah. So that's the big thing like that. Let's move on for a couple of news. Let's in right. Talking about Toronto, the league are officially, and we know this already, but CC and Tyson Barry is going to testing the free agency. The news was came from Pierre Lebrun and also from the agent.
Yeah,
Both agent was, I mean, it was just a question of time for them to
same
actually
thing.
test. Um, the one thing I want to talk about this morning is a really uh, it's not very good for the Edmonton Oilers. The defenseman Glef Holm.
Oh, Clefbaum, is he hurt again?
Yeah, so possible is going to
Oh, he's hurt.
so it's possible is going to be a surgery and out for maybe the
Ah,
many month of 2021. So
what's the surgery for?
um honestly I shift to Thailand Segway, so I don't know
This is the
exactly.
biggest problem with that guy, right? Like he is always hurt. Now, it's not good news for sure. Um, they have Larson, Nurse, Bear. Evan Bouchard looks like he's ready, but do you bring him up and expose him to the expansion draft? I don't know the answer on that, how that works. We have to look into it. But he can play in the NHL. Like he's a big right shot defenseman that can run. He can run and help on a power play with even with his shot. Um, they may bury him for another year, just not to expose him, right?
Yep.
So to your point before, imagine they get it. Do they take a crack at a Peter Angelo? I don't know if they have the room or not. Does Clefbaum, how long is Clefbaum going to be out?
A few months.
No, it's not so bad. There's a lot of other defensemen out there too if they really wanted it. If he's healthy, I don't see D as a problem in Edmonton. But you want to upgrade. I think goaltending, to your other point, is the biggest thing.
Yeah, definitely is a big blow for them, honestly.
Does not help.
Um, this news was coming from Elliot Freeman.
Yeah.
And he did not mention like the surgery is a possibility. The recording of the injury he suffered last season. So I don't, you have nothing here that said, oh no, the he got hurt a knee or whatever it is. I
Yeah.
cannot recall it
It's
like right
probably
now.
just like a old
The,
injury or
yeah, the news I just want to mention is it's not good when you have a player
no,
like
for
for
sure.
us, you know what I mean, for the olders. So that's
It not
the
help.
thing about that one there. Consider about a couple of senior show happening in the NHL. Or before we jump, I want to mention to you where um, Tyler Seguin, um, Tyler Seguin, Seguin, um,
Yeah.
injury risk, hip, knee, and groin during the playoff. Possible a surgery. Going to know more the next 48 hours.
He's- Well, you hope that his surgery is not on the hip or the groin, but that would explain a lot. I mean, I've had that. I've had that where the groin ruptures and the hip goes automatically. They're definitely connected, and that's a long, rough thing to come back.
Sometimes we don't understand everything's going on in the playoff, or sometimes
Uh,
players suffer, and you know what I mean. So it just mentioned about that one over there. I think he was a big piece, and he gave everything, and it's maybe a new Tyler Seguin, and we'll see what happening with them about that one over there. So let's move on with the couple of signature happening in NHL yesterday, and a couple of players go loan again to another site. We have a Montreal Canadiens signed a goalie Michael McNiven, another 1 year contract, $700,000, a 2 way contract. McNiven on the chart is maybe three or four, or maybe five on the goalie side for Montreal. When you have Price, Allen, Primo, and I missed another one. He was with Montreal.
Lindgren.
Yeah, and then you have him. So it's more about protection for Laval Rocket and maybe East Coast Hockey League. He swing over there a couple of games.
How many games has Primo played? 3.
And NHL, yeah, three last year.
So he could get what up to 24
Yeah,
before he's exposed as a rook as a.
yep.
So I would look for him to go back and forth. I don't know if they'll do that. Being in Laval is really convenient because it's just across the bridge, you know.
Yeah. Well,
They
the key right now is that because what happening right now is maybe what happening with Lindgren. Is it Lindgren?
Yeah, Charlie Lindgren, I think it is.
Yeah, so that's maybe the only reason they protect McNavid over there. Honestly, Primo, they would try to give him like we don't know with EHL, but they would give him the most. He want to become the regular goalie number one for the Laval Rocket before
Lindgren
Allen.
does.
I'm sorry, Kid
You're
Primo.
saying who does?
Kid Primo.
Caden Primo.
Yep.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So that's the signature of that one over there.
That's a good place for him for a year.
Yeah, talking about signature, Nashville Predator signed a young goaltender, Devin Cooley, 2 years contract. It's 785. Honestly, um, Cooley he was with the EHL last season, and he's going to be. He just signed up with them. Talking about signature,
California kid.
yep, he have a 90, he came 15.85 that season and .927 in EHL with Ursh. I believe it's Ursh. I could be wrong, but I think it's Ursh now.
So
Um,
he came from the San Jose Junior Sharks organization.
yeah,
He's a
exactly.
6'5" goalie. Like he's a big guy, but
They
good
have
for that.
another.
Nice
They
to
have
see
another.
California kids pop through.
He has a brother Cooley.
Does he?
I don't know Charlie Cooley. I don't remember that name. No, could
Oh,
be wrong. It's just like pop up in my head right now, just thinking about him, about that one over there. Uh, New Jersey Devils signed three players yesterday. Maybe you know some of them. The first one, the forward Brett Seney, Seney, 1 year contract, $700 in NHL if you make it. If not, in the AHL, you got 250. They signed another forward Ben Street,
he's
one
been
year
around a long
contract.
time. He
Yep,
was in the Detroit organization too. He's an
exactly.
AHL guy.
The defenseman Josh Jacobs, a 1 year contract, 7K NHL and 130 and the AHL. Do you know Josh Jacob or
Well, Jacobs didn't he? He's like American kid. He's like a 96, I think. Yeah, he played Bell Tire.
Yep.
Um, oh, he played for the Sarnia Sting. So that's where my family is, or it used to be. My family used to be from Sarnia. And the Sarnia Sting are owned by Dino
Kobe.
Ciccarelli and his brother. At
That's nice.
least they were, unless they sold it. But
Talking about players now going to play in overseas. Calgary Flame, the assigned defenseman just sold Välimäki to the Finland and Tampering, where he's back to Finland. Honestly, he's from Finland, so he's going to be there.
yeah, he played in our league though. So he played with Rasmussen, I think, at the is it Spokane or Trice? I can't remember, but he's a very good prospect. He was out all last year with an injury. That guy is a top 4 defenseman in the NHL when he's healthy. Like he's young, but he's a very good. He's like 6'3". He's good offensively. He's good defensively. Like that. If he's healthy, they got a really good player on their hands. Oh, Darian Hatcher. You know what? I think Ciccarelli sold it. Darian Hatcher and David Legwand own the Sarnia Sting.
Okay. Talking about the last one, Washington Capitals have loaned the defenseman Bobby Nardella to Scotland and the SHL. Nardella. Yeah, I don't know if you know Bobby Nardella.
It sounds familiar. I don't know why, but I don't know. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Okay. So that would be that's going on over there. A lot of rumor left and right about Patrick Laney. Now the Rangers, and also Pittsburgh Penguins are talking about. They're talking about Pittsburgh Penguins. Now they decide to keep Jack Johnson.
Yeah, he's trying for a 3.3 or something.
Yeah, so he's going to be on the pair. They expect him to be defense 5 and 6 with Mike Madison. So that would be the third pair on defense. Talking about them also, they're thinking to one thing declare possible Marcus Pedersen stay there, but unfortunately Matt Murray and Dominic Simon should be out of the Pittsburgh for the upcoming season. So that's the news.
It'd be interesting to see where Murray ends up. I'm curious to see that. But.
Also, talking about the Rangers earlier, Jeff Gordon. Is it Gordon or Corton? Yeah, Gordon. Yeah, the manager should have a RFA signed very quickly next couple of days, just per fast.
Well, that'll be good.
Yeah, I think.
Are they going to re-sign Ryan Strome? Is the question.
Yeah, I think that would be good about that one over there. Talking about, we have a lot of stuff to talking about. I want to talk to you about the Tampa Bay. What I mean, like when you win a Stanley Cup, many times it's not easy. Back to back. First of all, secondly, you have a lot of change of the lineup and the roster and everything like that. You give you an idea what's going on right now with the Tampa Bay. Right now, the cap space is $5.333 million. Now, check the list of the RFA.
It's tight, man.
All right, be ready.
That's why we said they're going to have to move.
Yeah, so be ready. Yeah, be ready on that one. RFA, Anthony Cirelli.
I think he gets a lot less money than people were thinking. I think he's going to get like a bridge deal.
I agree with you on that one. They're still 23 years old, I believe he is. So I don't expect him over $4 million him. I think they will give him at one.
I almost feel that's too high for him. I almost feel like he should be 2 years at 2.8 now. It's not like he produced offensively in the playoffs. Obviously during the year he did, but I don't see it. Like, is he a number 2 centerman?
You remind me a lot of Philip Dano.
Yeah.
And
that's not a $4 million player.
But Dano got like over 3. So I expect him about the $4 million is not exactly what I was thinking. I was just like, he's not going to get over 4. I think he's between 2.8 to 3.5.
I think you're right.
I think it would be the 2 years contract, and then let's move to the next one.
Yeah, that's why I was saying 2.8. Because if you look at Dano, though, Dano is 27, and he's at 3.08. So it's a good comparison.
Yep. Ross Colton. Where really is an American player for them, but he's not on the really roster or anything. Then Matthew Joseph,
I still like him. I don't know. Like I gotta think that what they do is they move out. Right now, to me, it looks like Tyler Johnson. Tyler
So,
Johnson's five
yeah,
million times
let's
four.
move on to the list. So we're going to go back to the one we
All
thinking they're going to go there. So
right, do it. Go ahead.
the next one is Mitchell Stephen, who has played three game, I believe, with the during the playoff, or maybe seven.
Yeah.
Carter Van Hehe, Alexander Volkov, the lucky man, Denis Yan, Eric Cernak, Mikhail Sergachev, Devante Seven, and Ben Thomas. Honestly, on the list I have right now, to be honest with you, they will give a contract bridge to Sergachev,
Big time.
Cernak, and also Cirilli, that we three right there. And then the rest of the players just mentioned to you, they all maybe get less, and maybe some of them are going to be gone. But I think they expect a lot from Volkov. I'll be honest with you, a
Yeah.
young to 2017 over
Nice.
draft pick. So draft. So I think he will get like another right low about that one there. So
I
that
mean,
would
I
be the
think
best.
your biggest problem right now is Sergachev
That's
because
the one right
he
there.
legitimately
Yeah.
could get a big contract, right?
The next one, the UFA, Patrick Maroon, Zach Bogosian, Jan, was it Jan Ruta? Or Jan Ruta, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
Jan
Ruda.
Ruta. Luke Shane,
Yeah.
Kevin Shatterkirk, um, Oleg Suzanov, Mike Condon, the goalie, the goaltender, and
Oh,
Spencer
yeah.
Martin and Scott Wedgwood. I'll be honest with you. We talk about Bokosian, Luke Shane, Shattenkirk.
They're-
That's three of them, and Ruta. As for the nine-player defenseman they used this year on during the playoffs, so we expect maybe one or the two of them. Um,
I think they'll keep. I would think that they would. They're obviously going to sign Cernak and Sergachev. Coburn is still useful for 1 year at 1.7, but Shen's gone in my mind. I gotta think they don't sign Shattenkirk, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they will, but I think he's just going to get too much money this time. They got a deal because he had a buyout, and Bogosian I think's gone unless he takes a real sweetheart deal. Jan Ruda, I don't know. He played really pretty well, but he shouldn't be that expensive.
I think they keep um, Shattenkirk, and they will pick one between Ruta and Bokosian. They let go Luxian for sure. And
For
then
sure, yeah.
on the RFA, they would push really from Cyrilli and Cernek and Sergachev over there. So I really believe they are the one we keep there. Um, Talking about the draft pick, they still have a lot of draft pick. The problem they don't have first and second. 62, yeah, third round pick, right? Or 31, yeah. They have like 62, 85, 93, 94, 124, 157, 186, and 217. They still have eight draft pick on that run on that this year, 2020. Um,
I mean, they're a
like you
team built
said,
for now, right? Like they're not. You can see guys like Matthew Joseph gets buried, Volkov gets buried. So I think they're not too worried about that right now. They got to ride out the balance of Stamkos and
now the
Kucherov, and
biggest
those guys
problem,
are.
and then we can finish with Tampa. Honestly, what they have to do, I think, for Julien Brisebois is to open up a little bit more space. And then I think Brisebois is not a UFA guy, signing a big player. He's more.
Now they have no reason to.
Usually they don't do that. They will maybe pick up a Patrick Maroon or a guy with low salary like Shattenkirk, right? And then they make a big splash more at the trade deadline. Usually, that's what they did for last couple of years, and it's good for them. Now the situation with the cap space, you mentioned this, so you have Tyler Johnson, Yanni Gord, and Miss One. Help me.
What? Palat?
Um, Alex Killorn. No, is it Killorn?
Well, I think Killorn's a little cheaper, but all those guys are close, right? So Palat, Gord, Johnson, and Killorn. Killorn's like 4.45 and he has 3 years. Johnson, I think, is the prime target because he's got 4 years at 5 million, and he's not getting back at center. And I don't think he's a great winger. He's okay at wing. Gord, I don't see going anywhere, but he's 5.17, believe it or not, 1666666, and he's got 5 years left.
He still have
Palat,
$5 million.
that's what I just said. 5 years times 5.1666. He's like 5.2, right? So I don't see them moving him though, because he's younger. He's not that young. He's 28. Like, these guys are all around the same age, right? I think the biggest thing they're going to look at is Johnson. I don't see them moving Killorn, but maybe. Palat after the playoff. He's only 2 years at 5.3, so I think they keep him.
Oh, they keep Palat. So they are definitely.
They were originally talking about moving him, but I don't see how you move him. I think Tyler Johnson's the guy.
The prior Tyler Johnson and Yanni Gord, they have a close no trade.
Yeah, but I don't think that there's a window usually, or it's like
No, it's complete. It's confirmed last night. I checked. It's completely 100%. They cannot remove him. Like
is
they
it?
cannot trade. They don't have 10 list team or whatever it is. If they want to
Oh,
trade him to Minnesota, they have to ask the players first before they
that's
get.
fine. But I don't. He's not going to. I can't see Johnson not being traded. He's going to want to play a bigger role in a team. Like, he's going to be relegated to second and third line winger now. But you're saying Killorn he has a modified no trade clause. So starting July 1st, he can submit 16-team no trade list. So then you're limited down to 16, 15, 16 other teams you can trade with, right?
If you look about the roster, you look about what they bring to the team. I believe of the three players, the less players bring more. I think Tyler Johnson compared to Gord, what he brings, and also Alex Killorn, what he does on. Because Killorn is a second, third line. You know what I mean? Like, and Gord is became a solid third center, and then Tyler Johnson, he was back more the four line, one that you know what I mean, when they use all the people, all the roster. So I'll be honest with you, $5 million to have a fourth center, you better to have a young kids like maybe Joseph or maybe Kolkov, or you know what I mean, like at $2 million or four line, get Tyler Johnson at $5 million, and they can trade him, get something back, maybe a third round pick, something like that. Because I really believe,
Probably.
I think Gord and Killorn bring more. They do more for the team Tampa compared to Tyler Johnson. On the philosophy how John Cooper run this team, I think Killorn is a great asset, and then Gord is, you know what I mean, he did very well during the playoff.
But I think the reality is Killorn is the only one with a modified no trade. So if you really think that's a problem, then maybe they have to move him. But I think Tyler Johnson's the guy you try to move.
And Killorn is now going to get 32, I believe.
Yeah, they're all around the same age. I mean, there's like a year separating them all.
So we'll see what happened with them. I think, Tampa, of course, winning a Stanley Cup without Senkos, you just shake your head. So wait a minute, this is not right, right? They build that kind of structure. They build like a great team, and the year before they have what 62 win.
Yeah, no, they're obviously a great team.
You know what I mean? So they are not like don't expect Tampa to go down next season. Like they're not going to they're going to make the playoff again, and they have a good structure, a good organization, great base fans, and everything like that. It's one of the best, I think, the top five team structure, everything like that in the hockey. So I think Tampa will be back again next year with a good team, just to add a couple of new players and remove a couple of players. But like you said earlier, they need to remove one of the three players we just mentioned, because Sergachev need more money, and then I'm sure Cirelli will be a little bit more money, and Cernak will get a little bit more money with $5 million right now on the salary cap, and with at least they need 11. I believe you have 11 players without contract right now for Tampa. So that give you an idea.
They have to do something.
Now talking, we have still 20 minutes to go. Time for draft number 11 to draft number 15. In NHL again, the draft for Hockey Nation fans. Remember, it's at October 6th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, live on TV. You're going to hear about all the news. And next day is round number 2 to round number 7, October 7, and then 48 hours later, that's open up the market. Free agent, expect everybody start to sign. I will never be surprised the first hour, Taylor all the prisoners go somewhere.
Probably.
That's what my expectation over there. So we'll see what happens with them. Talking about draft pick number 11.
I don't even
Nashville,
remember where we ended
Nash,
up.
Nashville Predator are going to knock the door at that moment over there. Give you an idea what you got so far, because I have it.
Yeah, I have no idea. I can't remember.
You gave Tristal, Raymond, Olds, Perfetti, and Lendl was your last pick over there. Compared to me, I get Old earlier, Tristal after, Mercer, Rosie, and Sanderson. Where Jack Sanderson, the last 48 hours, he get higher and
What was
higher.
Minnesota?
He
Was
higher
Montreal?
and higher.
No, like listen, the difference between Drysdale and Sanderson is very small. And Sanderson's probably better to like this has happened a couple of times. And I think people are trying to keep quiet about Sanderson because when you watch him closely, he's got some meanness to him and he plays a lot better defensively than Drysdale. Drysdale probably has more offensive upside, but either one of those guys could be a top 3 Dino problem. Like that's their potential. Like in Drysdale, maybe a 2, maybe a 4-1, But I think Sanderson could be a good young Ryan McDonough type guy, like maybe with a little more offense.
The last update of Chris Proman, they put Sanderson in front Tristal, and Sanderson may be going to Ottawa.
Yeah, that would absolutely not surprise me. And so I've done this a bunch of times, like you have. I've had him up, let's say early, right? First of all, you never know what would happen with LA, but it's possible they need a defenseman. They don't have a high-end prospect. I highly, highly doubt it given who else is there. So let's assume that goes away. Detroit, you got to think they're fine on the right side. Do they want a left side guy like Sanderson? Maybe, but I think they probably go for one of the other guys we're talking about. Like if Raymond ends up being a Mitch Marner type talent, which is what some people say, then they might jump on him. I'm going off the board and saying, hey, let's go for goalie. Drysdale, you could absolutely see Sanderson going to Ottawa. I mean, I could see them grabbing him where they get a forward like Byfield or Stützle, and then they grab Sanderson or Drysdale. I really, in some ways, I hate Drysdale in his own zone. He is lazy. And a lot of the shit you watch him. And I think he uses more positioning craftiness, whereas Sanderson plays physical. So you go, Pierre, which one do you prefer?
Now, Sportnet McKenzie sent Jake Sanderson with Detroit. Broman sent Sanderson with Ottawa. And Jake Sanderson from draft side sent Sanderson number 10 with Winnipeg. And then we have Marco D'Amico send Sanderson somewhere. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me right now.
Well, I mean, to me, Sanderson has a definite possibility to move up, as does Ascaro. So I think it's not unrealistic. I think anytime you get out of these top 3, as you know, like let's say I put Sanderson here, I see no reason why he also couldn't go here. Like, here's the thing it boils down to, what do they project Sanderson as? Some people are saying he's a number 2 defenseman. Has anybody said he's a number 1?
Right now,
But
yes. Roman put him in front right now, everybody.
no, but like his potential, when they rank them for the future, they say this guy is a 1A, 2A. So it's like first, second, or third spot.
I believe, all right, definitely would be top three defensemen for many teams.
Top 3 for sure. But do you pass on a Mitch Marner type caliber player or a Vasilevsky Samsonov to take a number 3 defenseman? Because that's how they'll evaluate it, right? They'll go, what's the potential of the player, and they take the best player. If you
Yeah,
think
being honest with
Sanderson's
you,
a
if I need a
top
goal,
2,
if I need a goaltender, I might pick is between 7 to 14, 15.
maybe you
I
don't have that pick.
I jump on Askarov all day long because
That's kind of my
Askarov is
point,
going
though.
to
It's like,
be. It's a great question you ask because what you asking
yeah,
me or asking us is, do you believe Sanderson can be defenseman number one? Can you believe Askarov is going to be a goalie number one? And do you believe another player forward, Alexander Olsz, Rosie, or Mercer, or Lucas Raymond is going to be your top players, center or winger? And when you go by this way, I think Askarov check everything. So you know what? I'm going to go. I need a goalie, and Askarov is going to be the top 10 goalie, I believe, in NHL the next 5, 7, 8 years.
right. And I think that's what they'll try to, everyone, that's the game, right? You're trying to see what's this guy's impact on my lineup, not just fill an immediate. So I think that, again, it goes to, if you think Jake Sanderson is going to be a top 2 and you have no talent on the left side, which is probably the case in Detroit, then you go, yeah, we'll take Jake Sanderson.
But again,
Would
I
not,
know it's
would
four.
not
I know
surprise
it's a
me.
little bit high, but I will believe if I was Detroit, I believe me. I surprise everybody. I take Askarov.
I've been thinking the same thing for a long time. Like, they have nobody of that caliber. Now, I thought they did with Larson, but what Larson did last year was really scary. He played great in the NCAA, and then he got to the AHL, and he was a lazy guy that does not match their work ethic, and they sent him to the E. Now, maybe he turns it around, but you're not going to bank on that, I don't think.
So
I
anyway,
think
let's
you.
move on to pick number 11 with Nashville
So what do you
Predators.
have after Drysdale?
I'm sorry again.
What do you have after Drysdale?
You have already give Raymond, Olds, Perfetti, and Lendl. Who do you have
Raymond,
open up? What
and
do
then
you
I have
have?
Sanderson going.
What do you have
I have
open up?
Sanderson.
So
I have
what do you have?
Sanderson to Winnipeg. What is wrong with this fucking thing?
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. So you already give Sanderson out, Olds, Rosie. So what do you have right now? Open up Schneider, Quinn, because you took Askarov. So Lundell is out for you. Jarvis, Lapierre, Holloway, Perrault, Zeki, Kulik, Greg. Now we
Yeah.
have a 20.
So who's 11th is what? Nashville?
Nashville 11.
So on my, because I jumped up with Askarov so high,
Yeah.
Rossi's still available. So I think they take Rossi.
I think you pick Rosie with Devils.
Did I have Holtz.
With Devils.
Yeah.
So I have Rosie there, me.
Maybe I switched it.
Yeah. 'Cause you
So
have.
right now this is what I've got. Lafreniere, Stützle,
Yep.
Byfield, Askarov,
Yep.
Drysdale to Ottawa, Raymond to Anaheim, Holtz to New Jersey, Perfetti to Buffalo, Lundell to Minnesota,
Okay. Yep.
Sanderson to Winnipeg. So that would leave Rossi, which would go to New Jersey or Nashville, which would be a steal, by the way. Like, he's
Which one?
totally capable of being up. Marco Rossi.
Okay. I go with Jack Quinn.
Yeah, I like him. You know what? I think he's better than people realize. He's an overager. He's a late bloomer, right? But you watch him, and there's a lot to like. He's a good skater, and he's the best goal scorer in the draft.
Yep.
Like you might pick him ahead of Holtz.
I think I will. No, I think because Nashville is full on defensemen. I think Schneider could be a great pick over there, but because Nashville
No,
already
I don't think that.
so I think it will be the best way to get with that one. Number 12 in Florida, and the Florida Panthers pick.
On my board, I go Quinn.
You go, Quinn. Zeph Jarvis.
Great player. I don't understand why he's not talked about the same way as Rossi or Perfetti.
You know what? This is great, and I think he's only maybe one step behind and not far what the people
Very
think.
little.
I'll be
So
surprised
little.
him the next 3 years compared to the player you're just talking about. Which one's going to be, in front of other players? I think Jarvis is going to surprise people.
I mean, we see him a lot. He led our league in scoring for Portland. He's a really good player. Like he's not junk. So I don't know. He's between him and Quinn. They have potential to go late and have a big impact.
I agree with you. Next one,
Yeah.
Carolina.
Man, this one's so tough for me. I think they're disappointed that there's no goalie there. But if you look at guys available, Schneider's interesting. Noel Gunler is actually, I think, really interesting. I think they're going to go Dawson Mercer.
Mercer.
Yeah.
Okay. I go with the goalie, Yaroslav Askarov.
Yeah.
I'm the one talking to you. He should be top 10, but you know what I
I
mean?
know. I have a feeling he jumps up. I think people are trying to
Oh, yeah.
talk each other
I
out of
agree with
taking
you.
him.
You know what I mean? Like, if it's happening next week, this, Michael, we knew already, me and you, we talk about this for every time we talk about a draft. Ascara's going to be jumping and jumping and jumping. So we're not going to be surprised whatever another team pick him up.
No.
No, not at all. Edmonton Oilers.
This gets really tricky because there's a bunch of guys that are around the same. I just want to check one thing.
You don't have Jarvis there yet.
Yeah. I was kind of debating, I think it's really I actually think he might go higher, but I don't know if Carolina would take him. We'll go off the board. I don't know if they need him. They have Yamamoto, and I don't know how many guys that small they want. I almost feel like it'll go like this. Is Schneider a left or a right shot?
Which one?
Schneider.
Schneider?
A
Oh,
right shot defenseman, isn't he?
yeah.
So they don't need right shot defensemen in Edmonton. I think they go Noel Gunler.
Which
and then
one?
Toronto goes Jarvis. Noel Gunler, the Swedish kid.
Gunler, yeah. All right.
I think Jarvis is probably better, but Gunler does have a high skill set. He's just kind of lazy.
Let's move on with Edmonton. I decided they're going to go with Schneider.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, they need defensemen, and I think they will jump
Well,
on.
but so think about this. The other defenseman we're not talking about that we forgot about, Broberg. Broberg already made the jump. So even though they lose Klefbom,
Which one? The defenseman?
their first round draft pick was Philip Broberg. And he made the NHL. He played in the playoffs. And he looked
I know.
really good.
Number 15,
Big
Toronto Maple Leaf
rookie,
got that picks from the trade with Kapanen against Pittsburgh. Was going to be your pick?
Jarvis. I'd be really shocked if Jarvis falls this far, but I screwed it up by picking Askarov so high. Gets a log jam really fast.
Um, that's a tough one for me.
Yeah, it's tough.
I think Toronto is going to get Holloway.
So
Devon,
we drafted Holloway. He never reported.
yeah, he played at Wisconsin College.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's a very good player. I think in a lot of years he would be picked higher than this. It's just we're seeing there's a lot of depth now in this draft, but I think that's a good pick.
Following by the Montreal, we have 15. Let's go with Montreal.
Oh God, who are these guys? What's that team called?
Number 16.
What are they called?
What?
The Canadians?
The Abs.
The Habs. I think they might. I'm
These-
really kind of torn between two guys here. If you had a choice, would you take a center or a wing if you're Montreal at this point? If that was your choice between those two,
they need winger.
then they go the Russian kid Amirov.
Amirov?
Yeah, I think so. It's either him or Mizak. Like I really like Mizak, and I think he's going to raise in people's rankings. I do worry that his offensive production is not as high as I would like, but I think that may change. That'll be the determining thing in his next year, like his overage year. But Amirov, to me, they can be patient, and I think Russian players adapt really well to French culture. I think they go Amirov.
Um, oh my God. It was my pick. It was my
Yeah.
because you take him, I'm going to change, and I will take Lapierre but he's the center, and I don't think they will go with a center. They already have.
Yeah.
I think they were going to go with Jacob Perrault.
Oh my God.
Perrault is a right wing with Sonia, as 5'11".
Yeah, I know who he is.
I think
His dad is Yannick Perreault, played in the NHL a long time, really good player. He's a much better skater than his dad. He's that would be a good choice. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
another defenseman I think you could get also is Prince Albert, um, is it Goulet?
I really like Caden. I think I think if this is a different year, he goes high. Like he's a big guy. He's a left shot defenseman. He's a good skater. He's got some offense. Like he's an interesting
One
player.
thing Montreal is very good. They always pick someone from WHL. That's
Well,
Montreal.
that's I really was tempted here. That's why I was saying like I really like Caden Gould. And his brother, I think, is still going to be a good player. He had some injury problems this year, but he was part of the Montour trade, and I think Anaheim will probably have him up this year. I like Caden. So, which one do you end up with, Perreault or Gould?
I'm sorry?
Which one did you end up on, Gould or Perreault?
I go with Perrault because Montreal need a winger, is a right wing. I think Montreal looking for a right wing. I will not be surprised they will. I predict Montreal is going to be doing big things next week. I believe Bergeron has his back on the wall right now. He need to move. He signed already Jake Allen. He got Edmondson. I believe he's going to get a right wing or a player like Dadonov or sign a UFA. I hope they won't get Hoffman, but you sold me a lot on Tyler Toffoli. My only concern about Toffoli, you know him very well, is maybe injuries could be a problem with him, but otherwise I think I would take Dadonov before him because Dadonov play about like he missed 3 games the last 4 years.
I don't know if Tyler's a great fit in Montreal. Tyler is not a great. He's not a fast skater. He's like a powerful skater, but he's not fast, right? And he needs someone that's a fast centerman. But he doesn't need that. He creates his own shot. So he will get you 20, 25 goals. I feel like he did better in LA and he would do fine in Vancouver. Vancouver's a quick team, but they have a lot of depth. Montreal, I think there would be too much heat on him to be the next savior. I don't see him wanting that. But maybe. He played for the Toronto Junior Canadians.
Yeah. Now what's still happening
That would
there?
be interesting.
We are going to close the program today. Honestly, we have a pick 11 to 16 today. We're going to consider a draft every day for the next couple of days until October 6th. There'll be something we're going to bring always every day a team with what's going on with the UFA. Everything like that. We just select the team in the morning. We pick it there, and of course all the news around the NHL. We're going to talk tomorrow, Michael. Be ready. We're going to talk about the Quebec Major League start their season tomorrow. We're going to go a little bit deeper with that. We're going to mention that maybe the best 10 player for 2000 draft 2021 and next season, not this next week, but the following year, play for Quebec and maybe talk about Sven team, what we expect on that league because it's great to have a junior hockey step up and play game versus what I mean like it's more interesting to follow up and because the next couple of weeks NHL will be a little bit slow until the upcoming season in January. So anything to add on this great program again today, Michael?
Did you see the report about Bobby Ryan in Philadelphia?
Yeah, Bobby Ryan was mentioned on the Flyers. He put the top. He put on his list top 3 best team. He would like to get there. I think he's a great fit there. I think
Really?
yes, because he's not going to be a top 6. They would put him on the top 3, top 9, and I think it would be great to have him. He's still a great hockey player. He produced.
You think so?
Yeah,
I don't let. So I think the emotional tie for him is the fact that he's from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I do not think he is a good fit on that team. They already have JVR, which is a
but that's
similar type
that
player,
was
but
my next point right there. I really believe GVL will be out.
maybe.
and
But
and
who I don't know
and
who will
Bobby
take him.
Ryan
But
and Bobby Ryan can get about $3 to $4 million per year.
I would not pay him
He's
that.
a
But I
potential. He's a
I think that
potential of
there's
15, 20 goals per year.
uh,
He's shifting his life. He's really work on himself. Great wife. I believe the guy is getting it the right way to be surrounded with
I
himself.
think
Now, don't send him to a team to expect the top 6, expect him 30 goals, put pressure on him. But a third line at 3.5 million, 4 million max, he will fit. And I think Flyers have a good chemistry of coaches like Vigneault, Terrien, Yo, and with Giroux, Couturier, everything, I think he's a good fit over there.
can you imagine Yo and Terrian with Ryan? I think they would want to shoot themselves in the face.
I'm telling you now, you'll be surprised what Bobby Ryan's going to change. He changed. He have a new man,
Yeah.
you know.
I don't think anything's changed about him. He's a soft kid. He's a nice kid. He's got talent and he gets by on the talent. And I don't think it's anything other than that. He's not a player that is in the trenches, and Philadelphia is a gritty team and they got Morgan Frost coming up. I already think JVR showed in the playoffs he can play better than I always thought, but I don't see that long term. I think they'll try to move him. I would, if I'm in Philadelphia, I don't want Bobby Ryan, but that's just me.
All right, that finales the day for us today. Is a great, like I said, a great show. Hockey Nation fans, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our Facebook page if you want to hear more about what's going on around the NHL and junior hockey. And of course, with Michael expertise and young prospect, I can't wait. Next, Michael's going to have a big week next week, figure out all the prospect NHL. We're going to be live a couple hours before and during the first round in October 6th, Wednesday night. So Have an
Sounds
amazing
good.
and great Thursday.
Thanks, Pierre.
We'll see you tomorrow, Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Have an amazing day. Goodbye.
You too, Pierre. Have a great day.
Thank you.